Reset and start. But techniques like this allow us to do a screen-driven program. Now, I know that these techniques had to be beat into my head. What does that mean, Peter?
Gotta practice them a lot?
You gotta practice them. You really do. You've got to practice them. But once you practice them, and after you develop them, and it's an important thing to develop in a basic programming or introductory programming class, because when you go into data structures, I'm not going to teach you this stuff. These techniques are going to be gone. And if you're constantly rewriting code and rewriting code and rewriting code and rewriting code, you're only going to go nuts. And you don't have to. You can address the problem, which is what the focus of a data structures class is, and not necessarily the code. And if you have a decent collection of code, you can go out there and grab that code, run with it, use it and run with it, and keep going. Okay? Believe me, I put a lot of, I know you don't believe this, but I put a lot of thought into my lectures, especially since they've been cut down to 2 hours and I have to do things a little differently. Oh, then you program it. Get rid of your empty diffs if you want to. The real goal is to make things as easy as possible. Do I look like I'm going backwards? What you don't want to do is to overcomplicate the process. Overcomplicating the process means that you've got 17 different imports out there, and you can't get something to run, so you try a different import. You try a different import. You can't do that. You have to get something running, get it running well, and test it inside the module itself, and then try to run it. Build a tool, build it to do one thing and one thing only. If you go back to that screen module I showed you, that had the first line, the header line of the screen, all it did was structure the header line and then replace it with data that it grabbed from a flat file somewhere. Oh, this is a good example. This is the example I used. Wow, I can't believe I did that, right? This is actually your line. This is the line you put out there. You'll notice I put a comment up on top with a measurement. Why? Because I don't want to exceed 79 characters across the screen. I only want to go out 78. I throw a bunch of Q's in there. Why do I throw Q's? Because I can use the replace verb in Python to replace it with the project name that I got from someplace else, and the integrity of my spacing stays the same. Do you follow me?
Yeah, because otherwise the author thing would move.
Otherwise the author thing would move, yeah. And you can't have the author thing move. You need the integrity. So that sets it aside. Now, if I put a name out there that's more Q's than I've got posted, and why do I use Q? Because it's the most infrequently used letter in the alphabet, in our alphabet. I don't know, is it, you don't have Q in Nepalese, do you?
We have another alphabet.
Pardon?
We have different alphabets.
Yeah, totally different. You know, at the risk of saying I want to put some...
Yeah, we have the same.
Same alphabet?
Yeah.
At the risk of using some obscure alphabet that nobody understands, I use the letter Q. And everybody knows there is no such word as Q, 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 right? I could have used A. I didn't. I used Q because it's the most infrequently used letter in the American alphabet, or the English Western European alphabet that we've become comfortable with. I don't even know what our alphabet is called, but Makes sense. So it maintains your integrity. See this? I said each line has to have a screen number. Each line in my screens changes. If you'll notice right here, down here, I've got a screen name. I got another bunch of cues. This is my second line in my screen. My screen right here, see this screen right here? This increments itself. So if I have 75 more screens, it's going to keep adding on to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is all done working within an Excel spreadsheet. Why? Because it checks the length on one side and allows me to keep it around 30 characters. And 2, it allows to increment it so that I can walk through it. Oh my God, I've just saved myself a ton of headaches. You don't see it right now, do you? Honestly. Well, I have to put 6 lectures a week together. Think about it that way. I need a tool to make it manageable. Or else I'd go nuts. PowerPoint-wise alone, I'd want to commit PowerPoint aside. If you find your individual diffs inside of your utility getting around 30 lines, you need to split that up. Okay, your module can call as many modules inside that module as it wants to. So it adds to your ability. It makes it work a little bit. But if it's over 30 lines, you really want to sit down and consider splitting it up. You may need 30 lines, but more often than not, you're not. Okay? I use 30 lines just as a key. And I'm frozen again. Be damned. I don't know why I froze again. Well, you know why I'm freezing? I'm freezing because this mouse moves. This mouse switches position on the screen. Driver, let's just jump out to the end. Oh, take a look at the number. I told you the number changes. My wife didn't believe that when she first saw it. She goes through these things, and do you know what she checks for? Spelling. Yes, I have an editor. She didn't know she was signing on for that when she married me, but she did. We were at 152. There we are. Kill it and keep moving. Some rules to keep in mind. Keep things simple. Don't overcomplicate it. 2, every diff you build, put a comment in the doc string. That way it always acts as an index. If you build a diff and you don't put a comment in the doc string, then you're making a huge mistake. Okay? If the diff procedure is over 30 lines, consider breaking it up. That doesn't mean at 31 lines you have to break it up into 2 15 and a 16 line thing. But if it's over 30 lines and it looks like it's getting increasingly complicated, you need to break it up into smaller routines. Keep it small and keep it lovely. Test each procedure inside the module. If you test each procedure inside the module, then you're sure it's going to work outside the module when you use it as an import. Does that make sense? That might sound really silly, but that's what you do. You test each procedure in the module. Keep your eye open for routines that you're using all the time. Take those routines and stick them in a module. Be they a print routine, be them a structure routine, whatever it is. Keep an eye open for it because you're only going to use it again. So why are you sitting there? I don't write code anymore without Google because I forget so much. And I will sit there and I'll spin my wheels. You don't want to spin your wheels. Eliminate the error by doing simple stuff. And I think this is a good place to stop. Let's take a look. The lab this week is to build a module that will take your screen files and convert them into a Python module. That means if you've got 25 different screens out there, you build a module that reads them in one at a time and converts it into a screen module, which is all concatenated, okay? Because you're going to need, how many screens are you going to need to run your project that you come up with?
Like the final?
Yeah, to start, this is the final. We're working on it now. What'd you think? You just don't do anything in this class? I mean, this is the final. How many screens do you think you're going to need? Did you come up with over the last week that you think you're going to need?
I wasn't really sure what to do. I only made 4.
4. Let's start, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a start. So how many screens need to go in your screen file?
4.
4. But
Yeah.
what if you need 10?
You could always add more.
You can add them. That's the whole idea. And all your screen files go in the screen module. And that way, you know where to go when you've got a screen. Because what will happen is you'll have so many screens out there or so many different modules out there, you will be naming them after that obscure volcano. And you won't mean to. You won't mean to. And that's okay. Let's keep moving here. So that's your process. It doesn't need to be complicated. If you need help, take the time to review the videos. There should be some hidden gems. Well, see, she missed one. She missed one. Hidden gems in them. And basically, that's the end of our lecture today. And that's it.